Welcome to the latest episodes of the Grapple Gurus. I'm here. I'm your first boss. I'm also joined by Double A. Say hello.
Yes, Double A, aka Aaron, aka the ruler. Yeah,
Don't know about that. And we're also joined by Roink the Clown.
Always ready, loving proper professional wrestling as opposed to Disney.
Okay, well, Dazzler sends his apologies, but on that note, we will get to Disney, aka the WWE. We're just going to give the quick, because you've probably heard it already, a quick Mania fallout. Did we all enjoy WrestleMania, aka, as Roink the Clown says, Disney Mania? What do we think?
Nah.
Lived up to the hype?
I mean, from my perspective, obviously I let Double A touch on. I didn't think there was any hype in the first place, to be honest. I think the Tiffany Charlotte Flair match was a match I was looking forward to, but didn't. I think there was always a bit of a mismatch beforehand, and it didn't live up to it. I think Dave Meltzer's given that a 1 3/4 star.
I mean, sorry to cut you, but how can you? The first thing we're talking about Mania Fallout, and you go straight to that match. I mean, when I'm talking about Mania Fallout, I'm talking about Dwayne not showing up. I'm talking about Seth Rollins shocking the world. I'm talking about, and you're talking about Tiffany and Charlotte.
Well, we can get into that. I mean, if we're to talk about Dwayne, Diva Search, Golden Globes, Johnson, that could be a whole episode. And we'll get into that. I'm just giving my initial sort of quick thoughts. The Roman Reigns triple threat match, that was good, but it seemed very much like the prize was getting Paul Heyman, which I thought was a bit odd. There wasn't really anything up for grabs for me.
Well, yeah, I can see what you're saying, but I guess that the Paul Heyman bit is what leads to other parts. Obviously, Raw, and you see how that has developed, but I won't go too much into that. Just quickly, my thoughts on Mania overall. Overall, it was good. I will say that the triple threats ruled the weekend. Obviously, the women's triple threat, the men's triple threat, and the main event triple threat from Stand and Deliver NXT. They were the best matches of the whole weekend. And if it wasn't for those matches and the rest of it, the end of night 2 could have really, really, really derailed everything personally, because it was just so
fiend.
It was just so. I felt it was just so lackluster. Something that should have been so grand. That's so grand,
Exactly, and that's the main fallout from it. We might as well just go straight into that part. Let's just talk about it. Let's just address it. Roink mentioned Golden Globes, Diva Search, Dwayne. Can you explain? Can you explain why you call him that and what your take is on him not showing up on the Pat McAfee show? Obviously, afterwards he explained we weren't needed, but if he weren't needed, then why did he start the angle by effectively telling us Cena sold his soul, but now he's telling us, we weren't needed for it, and we can revisit it. But why are we going to revisit it now when Cena didn't need him to win it? It's just all weird. I don't get it.
Yeah,
so maybe what do you think?
I think since SummerSlam 2002, Dwayne has seen wrestling as a plan B, and every time he'll come back and he says, finally I'm home. And there was this run during the Ruthless Aggression run where, he'd pop up for his Diva Search. And this was sort of like the Scorpion King, Mummy Returned sort of thing. He was dipping his toe into Hollywood. He was finally getting in there. And he would turn up and he'll save Eugene, and he would save Mick Foley, that type of stuff. And then, as we all know, he did a little interview with Pat McAfee. Not the most recent one, of course. There was one a couple of years ago. And he said, me and Roman Reigns were locked in. And then it just didn't happen. We're like, oh, what? And then he comes in again anecdotally and he says, oh, yeah, maybe I should be the tribal chief. And oh, is it happening? And then he inserts himself in the Roman Reigns feud. And then IWC, the internet wrestling community, which Triple H says, you know, shut up and just enjoy the ride, backlashed. And then the Cody Crybabies inserted themselves. And all of a sudden, you got Rock Final Boss. And I thought, wow, this is interesting. And the ironic thing, you know, they say they don't follow the IWC community, but, you know, they'll talk of, oh, this is now the Rock's a heel. I wonder if he'll ever bring back the Hollywood Hill theme. And he did. So he was giving the people what he wanted. The people's champions giving the people what he wanted. And he was intrigued. And Cody won. Roman went away. And you may remember it was Raw. And Rock comes out. I think they passed over a present, a gift that we didn't really know. And Rock's like, listen, I got to go away now, but I'll see you soon. I was like, oh, wow. Like, so then Cody goes off his little, you know, odyssey, facing all these different people, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, and we're thinking we are going to get Rock, Cody, WrestleMania 41. And then Netflix happens and you think, wow, this is going to be potentially Attitude Era Part 2. Nope. We got Rock coming out here with goosebumps, rubbing his arms, kissing babies, signing shirts. And then you've got Cody in the front row seat. This is a guy that was getting broke up in front of Mama Rhodes on Instagram, slapped up with his belt. Nah. But you got him saying, oh, Cody, oh, thank you so much for carrying this company on your back. I was like, is he supposed to like be some sort of horror character? Is he supposed to be like a baby face, but actually he's a heel? I don't know. Like, I'm on eggshells here. And then he appears on NXT that same week, which for the love of me, as I said to Double A, I have not watched that promo. I can't bring myself to watching it because again, I saw him rubbing his arms. I thought, I can't watch this. And then it was quiet. And then Elimination Chambers happened. They build up to that. And Rock's like, I need your soul. Man said, I need your soul. I was just like, what in the Ministry of Darkness viscera is going on here? And then we're like, okay, fine. And then this is the maddest thing for me, right? And obviously, this is what really annoys me because we'll go into the Pat McAfee interview part 2. But then you've got Dwayne like coming out, I want your soul. And this was the final bit of the main event, by the way. A main event which had PG Punk. It had Cena. And obviously we know about what Dwayne says in the Pat McAfee. In fact, we'll get into that right now. And then he's going on Pat McAfee interview part 2 saying, my friend Ari called me. And he said, oh, the sales are down. And we need you, Dwayne. He's like, all right, big Dwayne will rock up. But if I'm coming, I'm not coming alone. And then all you hear is, bing, 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 bing. And I'm like, what? You got Travis Scott coming out here? I was like, okay, well, okay, this is a bit weird, whatever. And you get the Cena turn. This turn is supposed to be like TNT, WCW, sold out, Hulk Hogan, NWO sort of heel turn, right? That's what people are labeling it as, right? And then you're thinking, Raw Netflix is going to be insane. What Rock's going to say?
All right, hold on. Let me just stop you there. Let me just stop you quickly. Let me just stop you quickly, because it was a good. If we like at this point, everything you've explained, cool. There is a bit, the confusion stuff, but at that point, it was a good heel turn. Even Travis Scott at that point, burning sage in the ring, Cena. It was all like, what the world is going on? Like, it was intriguing. But it was an angle that was started that we expected to see more of. That it was good. That was good. You have to give it its flowers. That point, it was good.
Yeah, I think you need to clarify the execution of the heel turn and how they did it and the framing of it and what actually happened was great. Like, I don't think that can be argued. However, it's the follow up after that. It's what has happened since then, which is where it's all started to fall apart.
And I totally agree. I totally agree with you. And what do they say? You know, all you remember is the finish. And the finish you see is Travis Scott, Cena, and The Rock in the ring, and Cody on the floor, black eye, all of that. But then we get the following week, and there's no Cena, no Rock. There's no explanation. And the week after that. And then you get these back and forth between Cena and Cody, and there's almost this rock in the room, this elephant in the room. Are we not going to mention Dwayne? When's Dwayne coming? What's going on? And it's silence. And the last time they mentioned The Rock,
I swear Cody did mention him.
On the last week, the go home show, right? 6 weeks of build, and they only mentioned him once. And I was like, hang on a minute. The whole reason why we're here is because this mysterious prize, the Rock's soul, Cody's soul, right? Be my champion. And then we get tonight to, you got Cody and Cena, and what'd you hear? Fiend, 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 fiend. Meanwhile, Rock is posted on Insta. Rock's posted on Insta. He's just driving in Hawaii. I was like, nah, this has got to be a troll. This has got to be a troll. And then this is what annoys you the most, right? So then he doesn't show up. We know he doesn't show up. And as I said to Double A, this is the first WrestleMania since the whole Netflix thing, right? It's the biggest thing. So then you got this guy showing up on Zoom, yeah, or Microsoft Teams on the Pat McAfee show. Whoa, Final Boss here. Pat is all excitable. Wow, my God, Rock, what are you saying? And Rock's just sat on his, kitchen counter, glasses on, because he's the director of the board, TKO. How you doing, Pat? Yeah. What did you feel of WrestleMania? Rock? Final Boss? Yeah, it was good, but I would have finessed a couple points. Whoa. We're not even... This isn't Dark Side of the Ring 15 years later. This is 3 days after the pay-per-view, right? A man said I would have finessed some stuff. And then he's
just put this out there. Let me just put this out there now. Clearly, Dwayne and Triple H have still got beef. Clearly, it's an ego thing. Because there's just no way he would say all that stuff, throw man under the bus, say, yeah, I would have slowed things down, I would have changed this, that, and the other. Lash out at Dave and be like, hey, it's a work, man. Come and talk to me and Ari and Tony and all these other people, not mention Triple H.
And Brian Gewirtz.
Clearly got issues. They clearly have. It's an ego thing. And this is what I was saying in the group.
What I don't understand is...
Sorry, this is what I was saying in the group, that them having a roast of WrestleMania is done because wrestlers' egos are so fragile. They're so fragile. Literally, here's the proof. Here's the proof. It's obviously I don't know. We don't know for certain, but I feel like this is clearly a thing. I said this. Earlier. Rock must have been peeved that Triple H vetoed his plan to fight Roman at the Mania before. He must be. He must be, because there's no other reason for it. There's no other reason for him to be like.
This poses the question. The question that I will now ask then is that The Rock, obviously, he calls himself the final boss on screen. He's director of the board, Dwayne, blah blah blah. But in real life, he is actually a lot of those things. But who actually? So if The Rock said or Dwayne said he would have finessed a few things, why didn't he? Like, why?
Well,
who is in control here? This is what doesn't make. He not turn around and say.
This is what doesn't make sense, just to your point, because he's quite happy in the Pat McAfee interview thing to be like, yeah, Ari called me, ticket sales were down. I've known Ari for a long time. So I was like, yeah, I will go, but it's got to make sense. And obviously we know Rock's got a writer. And he comes in, and this is a guy, like I said, since SummerSlam 2002, this is his backup plan. This is plan B. So in the interview, and then Brian gives him his words, his words on his arm, and he says, yeah, just say the soul line. That's the amount. And you need to tell me, so then add to your point then, first boss, whatever, in a sense of, when he sat at home in Hawaii, you mean to tell me he's not, I don't know, calling up Paul or people there saying, right, how's it going at Mania? Everything good? And then this guy had the cheek to say, brother, I was surprised Travis Scott turned up, I was surprised. But then, in the same interview, he's saying, I knew every single finish. I knew the finishes to all the matches. I was like, well, how can that be how can you know the finishes to all the matches, but also be surprised Travis was there? And then say, I would have finessed a couple of things. Well, what would you finesse? Because you and your friend, your brethren, contacted you and said, "Listen, I need your help." That's just weird to me. And then when I asked about the soul thing, we'll run that later. Mad.
Yeah. It don't make no sense. Oh, I don't want to get involved. I didn't want to take the spotlight away from Cody, but you already did. You didn't want to take the spotlight
100%.
away from Cody, but Travis Scott's come out. Okay. You didn't want to take the spotlight from Cody, but you not showing up because you set this whole heel turn in motion is taking the spotlight away. Like, make it make sense, man.
This Travis Scott guy hasn't uttered a single word. So why?
Please, I don't want him to.
I don't understand. So what was the reason for him to turn up in that main event? Is he with Cena? Does he hate Cody? Why does he hate Cody? Is he with The Rock?
That's why.
Meanwhile, you've got The Rock coming out on Pat McAfee saying, "I didn't even know Travis was going to turn up. Like, he's not with me. He's your man. He's your brethren."
That's BS. And that's also why that match could have been derailed so bad, because you're telling me that was one of that match was so badly done, because you're telling me heel Cena couldn't beat Cody unless Travis Scott came out and did what? Fumbled around outside, walking down the ramp for 20 minutes, tried to hit, and it also makes Cody look like an absolute donut, because unfortunately the match was not produced well. It just wasn't. It just made no sense. It was,
and it's like their group. Are they a group? Do they have a faction name?
No.
Why?
Rock didn't even know he was showing up.
Is Travis Scott part of the NWO? Who is he going to come out and hit Orton at Backlash? Like, I don't really understand it. But do you know what?
This is why, people get vexed when celebrities just come in and do foolishness or whatever.
Right.
And that's why I will not have no slander ever on Bad Buddy's name, ever. Yeah. Everyone needs to put respect on his name. Yeah?
False accusations.
No one can't tell him nothing. Imagine that. Nah, it's just mad. It's just if you get celebrities, get them to do that.
Yeah, but it can be done right. It can be done right. If you
this wasn't the way.
That's what I'm saying. If you told us, listen, he's part of our crew, The Rock. Look, when I'm not around, I send him. Like Roink said, if he spoke on the mic and just said, "Listen, me and the final boss, we're rolling. Look, I'm with it." But none of explanation stuff is silly. But then this leads me on to what I was going to say next, right? With the explanation stuff, it seems Dwayne is explaining too much. I think you just
he's trying to
right just now about, look, listen, why are you giving us Dark Side of the Ring the next day? All this curtain pulling, and it's not just him. That new Netflix show that's coming out as well. I don't like it. We all like, look, listen, if we're all honest with each other, we're like smart.
Yeah, we're not. We know
that's why we're doing this, right? Because we like to know about the other side of the business. But they're doing too much. They're doing too much, in my opinion.
Yeah,
way too.
I mean,
much.
It might shed
too much.
Some light
when I saw the trailer for that, I thought this. Yeah, I was surprised. If I'll be honest with you,
it's mad. But I guess this is part of the Netflix era. Like, you know, they're gonna want to do these kind of all these different docs and all these different behind the scenes and all these different, you know, up close and personals and whatnots.
But they're making money. You know, apparently business is up. This is why I don't understand the whole. Oh, we're not selling tickets. Right, we need The Rock. I was saying Double A before we start the show, in that there will be a lot of casuals that would have obviously tuned into Mania, you know, especially on Netflix, you know, outside of the US, North America. And maybe a quick recap, or to ask someone that's in the whole wrestling thing, oh, what's going on? Oh, The Rock's back. He wants to take Cody's soul. What do you mean? Oh, long story, innit? But you just need to tune in. Oh, what? Travis Scott's arriving. Listen, Rock's going to follow. You sure, mate? Trust me. Rock's coming out now. He's coming out. Just give it a couple minutes. You're going to hear the, if you smell. Nah, nothing. Ding, ding, ding. 17-0. Like, 17th champion. He kicks him in the balls, hits him the title belt, bang, there we go. And I was just like, what is going on here? And you got Travis Scott. A couple of fans be like, why is Kendall Jenner's ex partner on Disney? What's going on there?
For real, why is he there? Why is he there? I saw a rumor. I saw something posted about they're trying or apparently pray to Lord they're not trying to get a tag match with Travis and Cena. Please no.
Oh Lord, SummerSlam.
But if that does happen, at least there's some continuity there with, well, of course, because he's with. Do you know what I mean? He's with Cena, so.
Yeah, but Travis can't do nothing.
I don't want to see it. You're right.
Yeah.
So when obviously because we're talking about the we're recapping Mania, like the highlights of it all. So I suppose a question for you, first boss, Double A. When do we, if at all, see Dwayne again? And if we do see Dwayne again, how would you book him?
He's made it hard now. Because if he didn't do the interview, I'd say, well, perfect. He comes out and he says, there you go, WrestleMania. This was all according to plan. I had it in motion. But now he's turned around and went, I don't know. Well, nothing to do with me. I left you to it. So but then that's what I'm saying. Do you separate that? Is that not part of not part of the storyline? Can the final boss come out and pretend that Dwayne never had that interview with Pat McAfee? So I don't know what happens now. He seems to think he can revisit this whenever he wants, but how do you revisit it? I don't know. If I'm honest with you, I haven't got an answer to that one. I don't know where he goes from here. I don't know how you reintroduce the character of the final boss.
He'll just come out and say whatever he wants, say his points that he wants to say, but in between that, he'll just spitball some absolute random stuff, and we'll just be like, what are you talking about? But he'll say his point at the end and then be like, yeah, and then we'll just have to. Again, it's. I was saying to Ronk earlier, he's not creative, so he can just remove himself from any issues. If he decides to come in and say this, that, and the other, if he decides to say, Roman, I'm your tribal chief, and then disappears, it's on Triple H, because Triple H is creative at the end of the day, so it'll be on him. And Rock can wash his hands of it and be like, I would have done it a bit different, even though he's the one who's come in and said whatever it is he said.
Doesn't that cause a bit of problem then, as you said there, Double A, like that, a bit of a friction, because you've 100%. Got this isn't The Rock, this is Dwayne. So this is a guy, he's not talent. He can literally insert himself in any store. He can rock up at NXT and come out and give a 20-minute speech and go over. He can come out and kiss babies, sign shirts, all of that, and then just leave and say, listen, I want to take your soul. I want to do this, I want to do that. And then Triple H and the creative are there left to pick up the pieces. I wonder how long that will last.
But that's my point, though. This is what I said earlier. Can he do that? Because that's the perception. But then he turns around and goes, boy, I would have done things differently. I would have finessed it different. But he didn't. But is that because he left them to it? Is it because he got vetoed? Is it because they told him no? I guess we don't know, though, the answers to those questions. But at the end of the day, the whole company is just a bit mad at the moment. We heard Nick Khan's comments about AEW as well. He won't say the words AEW. He says the other company. He won't say Tony Khan's name. He says the billionaires,
I have great respect for the father that finances the company, is what he said.
Exactly. They're just a bit on a madness. And they've acquired AAA now from, who were working with AEW at one point. They've taken Penta. They've taken Rey Fenix. We've now seen Aleister Black. We've now seen Miro, a.k.a. Rusev. We've seen, obviously Cody in the past. We've seen Ricky Saints. They say Britt Baker's on her way. They say Mariah May's on her way. Like,
I see Flair going the other way, by the way.
At this moment in time, WWE seem to be just determined to destroy AEW, taking talent. I don't know.
Oh, you think they're trying to destroy them like that?
100%.
Well,
100%.
It's very disrespectful. It's not just the case of these people's contracts are up. Because let's be honest, AEW were taking a lot of WWE talent as well. When they first come, Moxley, Jericho, the list goes on.
And just on that point, when you say taking, a lot of these talent did get released.
Yeah. I don't think
that's true.
Taken is
chose not to re-sign their contracts.
Yeah,
that's true.
Taken makes it sound like these lot are forcibly. At the end of the day, I feel like if you're a company, whatever business you are, you've got the money, whatever it is, and someone is free that you think is talented, you want to sign them. Do you know what I mean? It's not. I feel like that's. You know what I mean? That's like a team that's got enough funds are not going to take Messi on a free and all these other. You will take those players. Do you know what I mean? Even if your roster is kind of bloated, you want the good talent kind of thing.
But if I could just cut in there to the first boss's point in terms of trying to destroy AEW, although they're not taking talent, say, that don't want to necessarily come, acquiring AAA is a big way to sort of build on that monopoly. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's a bad move.
And what they've obviously got Vikingo there, and AAA allegedly, listen to Conan's podcast, they didn't have much money.
But they took advantage. Yeah,
of course. They're a small. Obviously, when people say, AEW is a small, small company compared to. Obviously, they're not the size of them they're nowhere near as big as WWE, but AAA is tiny compared to AEW and WWE. So,
but then is that the case? Are we saying that's partly Tony Khan's fault then for not securing a similar sort of deal, or was it a golden handshake? Was it a case of no? Again, these are all inner workings. I guess we don't know, but it just seems very strange that WWE never used to do these sort of things, but now, like I just said, it's like they're trying to do that whole thing. Let's acquire. If they end up acquiring New Japan as well, or get some sort of working relationship, that is effectively destroying a lot of what people were watching AEW for, the excitement.
Definitely.
Like it's basically, it's destroying the competition. And
that's not good. You don't in any sector. You don't want a monopoly, whether it's gaming, whether it's sports. It doesn't matter what it is. You don't want these companies buying up all these other little companies, because even if they say, it's going to stay the same, it's still going to operate, whatever, it may be like that for a little while, but it also stops new competition from happening. Do you know what I mean? From
to your point,
coming up.
Well, to your point, so AAA, they've already said there's been a direction apparently to employees that you need to start learning English and wrestling in American style. And Jeremy Borash, who used to be in TNA, he's joining the creative team in AAA. So the AAA that you saw or did see, that will be a different. That will be basically NXT 100%. Mexico, without a shadow of a doubt.
You don't want that,
And
I feel like AAA. I'd never watched it like that, but it was unique enough where you don't want it to be brought up and then it ends up just like you said, being NXT but Mexico. We don't want it to be the same thing. Work with them, let them do their own thing, but absorbing them and buying them up is not. It's not good. And I swear to you, if they somehow buy New Japan, it's not good. That's not good for wrestling as a whole. It's not. It's just not good.
Yeah, that would be horrible. Because again, when you watch, I remember watching Wrestle Dynasty. Was it Dynasty where it was like Gabe Kidd and Omega?
Yeah.
So watching that obviously the Tokyo Dome, it was incredible. And obviously I know Omega's worked New Japan, but then obviously watching all the matches, building up to that and after that, it was this Japanese strong style match. It had its own unique feel. So, and that's what I've always felt like AEW in a lot of ways is a partnership as opposed to owning it. And
yeah, definitely.
And then obviously you compare that, not just AAA, but you got that guy, say his name and he'll appear, Joe Hendry. Mate, he got Brock up. And then people are like, no, it's good exposure. I think they've sold 42 tickets extra since that appearance.
No. I will say, no. I will
Forgot
say,
that,
just on the Joe Hendry thing, I will say, I promise you, I don't know if you've seen anything after that, but you have to remember that guy, 3 years ago was wrestling in front of like 60 people. Yeah. Obviously, I know you say he got Brock up, maybe 4 years ago. I don't know. He weren't no one. Yeah. You're saying he got Brock up. Yeah, cool. This guy come out to 60,000 people at WrestleMania, yeah, all singing his tune. Yeah, he's the TNA champ. I know you're saying, it doesn't make the TNA champ look strong, but not every champ.
Well, that's what that's what I think. That's what the point. I think that's the point he was making. Is it's great for him. It is amazing for him. Like
it's great for TNA as well.
But for TNA, your champion come out in WrestleMania to be a
WrestleMania,
right? Yeah, to be a special guest and got Brock up in 2 minutes. And like,
and to be fair, when you say Brock up, he actually didn't get Brock up. He lost.
The commentator said, was it Wade Barrett? One of them said, does that mean Orton's the champion? Is it better? And they were like, nah. It's like, we don't want you to take your belt back to TNA. Go back down there. We don't want
that's fine. Like, are we gonna pretend? No, I hear what you're saying, but are we gonna pretend?
They bought the company though. Again, like this is what I'm saying. You're buying these companies. We didn't even mention TNA. I completely forgot about that. So you bought this TNA, or I don't know if you bought them or whatever. Your working relationship with all these companies. But you're exposing them on your team. Don't forget, when AEW did it, Christian won the title, then appeared on their TV show, and he held the title, and he done some stuff with TNA.
So did Omega.
Omega, same thing. He appeared on their TV show. It helped them. What is? I don't.
All right, so
you're champion.
Just chuck a couple NXT superstars. Chuck a couple NXT superstars.
I was saying. So first of all, let's not pretend that TNA is on levels in terms of like. It's not on levels of obviously WWE or AEW.
Don't bring your belt
TNA is around NXT.
All right, don't bring your belt then. Don't show it off like you're proud.
Why would you not?
Because
you have to. And also, look, I do get your point, but I think it's being blown out of proportion to like, oh my god, that's it. TNA's whack. He's whack. It's all whack.
No,
it's not that deep.
I disagree.
It's just not that deep.
I disagree.
Look, Dazzler's not here, yeah, but he will tell you what Ray is not a believable world champion, and he was world champ. What is he strong? Look what happened to Ray.
Yeah, but did Ray Mysterio ever lose in 2 minutes?
Do you know what's funny? Yes, you remember what I can't remember. I saw the clip the other day. He won the title.
Oh yeah, Cena.
And the next night, Cena marked him. Yeah,
no, I think it was the same night. Yeah, but he just had a match.
Yeah,
he's not fresh.
Okay, but that's still mad. And also, obviously, they didn't really play into it or mention it, but in TNA, Joe Hendry is actually injured. There's a story where he's injured, so he's not gonna do no madness. He's not gonna be able to do a madness. People saying, "Oh, it should have been a 20-minute match, 10-minute match." No, they're not gonna do that. And also, if you watch the match, he lost it. Yeah, he got RKO twice. The first RKO he got because he was soaking in the fact that he's in front of 60,000. He's done his pose and he's got RKO'd out of nowhere. Yeah,
it was a funny, feel-good moment.
Yeah, and Randy is the one who asked for him. He requested him for that match. It's not like they threw him out there like, you have your mania moment, but
but you're missing the point. You're missing the point.
He's the world champ.
He's the world champ.
It was a good moment. It was funny. It was everything about it. But did it do anything for the TNA brand? Yes or no?
100%. Eyes on TNA. 100%.
I would watch that show after that. So
I wouldn't. Listen, I'll give you a prime example. Like Taz. I remember Taz debuting. Right, Kurt Angle come out here with his gold medals. I was like, I hate this guy. This guy's such a punk. And then it's like, listen, come on here and let's give it your all. And all you hear is beep, 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 beep. And his opponent, doo-doo. Hey, Taz brocked up Kurt Angle. Yeah, I was like, what is this? Who is this guy? And I remember going to school. They're like, do you not know about Taz? He's on ECW. I was like, oh my days. And I did my research and I was intrigued. I was like, what is this ECW? Because again, back then, trying even to get access to watch ECW, I think it used to be like on Channel 4 or something, like after like 10 o'clock, right? If you're lucky. Whereas TNA, there's no way in hell.
And I agree.
Joe Hendry getting argued like that.
It's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. If you didn't know about New Japan, right? And like last year, 2 years ago, whatever it was,
Okada,
AEW, and then you hear the coin, and you like, who the hell? Do you think Okada's coming down and getting buoyed in 2 minutes? Do you remember when Ospreay?
That's a debut, though. It's very different.
Do you remember? No, but he was still under contract at New Japan at the time. I'm saying this is when they were.
I'll give you one better.
It's still a debut.
Remember when Ospreay?
I'll give you one better. And apologies to cut you there, first boss.
Yeah, go on.
But
don't do it again. Yeah, I lost my mind at that moment.
Yeah. I was just like, raw. Why?
When we saw Suzuki, I was like, who the hell is this Don?
Yeah, of course.
He did not get beat.
Of course, it's a debut though. Again, that's a debut though. And you know what I'm saying? That's not a Joe Hendry debut on WWE TV.
Mate,
it is.
He's on Mania.
Okay, for some people it is, but he was at Rumble. Do you know what's the?
Okay. He'll be the world champ at the Rumble.
No, he won't.
Well, there you go.
That's fine, but I hear what you're saying. But I'm saying I think it's blown way out of proportion. Like, oh my days, stock in TNA has gone down. Like people are going sick. But this man's living like his life, and TNA has got extra exposure for it.
The thing is, though, like, if I'm on TNA,
it might not make you not want to watch it, but
but how can I be invested in that program and I'm watching a storyline? You know, someone's going to fight for the world champion. Yeah, I'm going to go after you, Joe. Yeah, I'm going to take that world belt off you, Joe. And I'm like, yeah, but actually, I saw you on Netflix. Turn around and just get RKO.
Yeah, man was posing. He was gloating. I don't like. Surely, if someone's gloating and then you get murked, that's on you. That's not because you're whack. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I don't think if you're talking about you want to be invested in something.
All I'm saying, you would never see Swerve do that, like or Moxley or Omega or MJF or Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe,
Daniel Bryan got beat in what 10 seconds at Mania. But look what ended up happening to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Fine.
Exactly. Do you think that helped his career? He had to fight back after that.
Yeah.
After that, yes, he skyrocketed, but that wasn't because of your boy Papa H. He wanted to hold him down. He had to fight and claw his way back up.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Look at Kofi Kingston, man, dressing up as Dragon Ball Z. Man got broke up by Brock Lesnar in 10 seconds.
Yes. Let's see if Hendry, flounders after this or whatever.
Anyway, do you know what? We've given way too much airtime to this waste man. I don't even want to talk about it.
What a hater, man.
Maybe Double is right. Maybe he's got the desired effect. We're talking about Joe Hendry now. Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If you say his name, you talk about him.
He appears. That's what I'm saying. It's mad.
Whatever, man. Anyway, last thing quickly, because we've gone on for a bit, but just let's just touch on, because we're talking about WWE acquiring all these talent, we're acquiring all these companies. Where does Forbidden Door go from here? Because the whole...
I'll tell you where it goes from here. It goes to the
I'd like to hear where we go from here with Forbidden Door.
In London, and I'm going to be there.
Of course, we're all going to be there.
Of course, we're going to be there.
About it. We are all going to be there, so hopefully we'll catch a few people there as well. But what I'm saying is, okay, you still got, what's the other Mexican company? Is it MLW? Not ML.
CMLL.
What?
CMLL.
CMLL, and you've got New Japan. Hopefully, I'm assuming they've still got some sort of deal going on and you've got AEW. So Forbidden Door will still exist to some sort of extent. But this does hurt the Forbidden Door sort of I can't even think of the word. This hurts the premise. This hurts the premise of Forbidden Door a little bit, doesn't it? Really. Because it's not a forbidden door anymore.
The thing is, before even the acquisition, because obviously AEW has had a working relationship for however long now with all these, with New Japan and CMML and AAA, all these other things. Already, obviously you're still going to have those people, but it's like, I don't know, the first one was crazy because you're like, what? It didn't make any sense. We didn't know, I guess, and it was the first of its kind, and we're like, hang on, all these men from all these different companies are coming in, yeah, sick. Obviously now it's been 5 years. We know they've had a working relationship. We see a lot of wrestlers from those companies either on Dynamite or on Collision. So it's not that like as you were saying, it's not that the concept of it can't work anymore. It's just, is it as exciting? Like, are there any big surprises that can happen, or is it? I don't know. It's obviously you can still have great matches, but I feel like unless they are opening other doors.
Well, that's what I mean. Just touching on that just quickly, what I was thinking, and I don't know how this affects the American audience, maybe just even the UK audience, but for us, it's in England, as we know, it's in London. We'll be there. I guess if you start opening up to maybe the British promotions, obviously Rev Pro being the biggest one, would that be much of an impact? Like if you had Michael Oku, the Rev Pro champion, just coming out on AEW TV, will he get a pop? Will that be an impact?
In London, 1,000,000%.
Gabe Kidd, as mentioned before. Would it? Maybe for us, as I said, for us it would.
Us. And remember as well, this is sorry, just going back to what you're saying about the American fans. Sometimes I feel like they are a bit entitled because obviously they've got access to all this wrestling. They get it every week. They've got it. So I don't know. Sometimes they get a bit, not necessarily bored, but it's like, oh yeah, I see you every week. It's whatever. So for them, it might not be anything. But for like sometimes we went, if we see someone from New Japan we're not familiar with, we could be like, okay, cool, whatever. They can put on a sick match, but we don't know who it is.
And if we like them, we can look them up. And I suppose that's what you're saying. If you get someone
so on our end, that's their business if they don't know who it is. But for us, we're gonna go sick. And I think this one is a perfect opportunity for seeing those exact people. I expect Gabe Kidd on there. I would love for Oku to be on there. And and other people as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity. I mean, AEW is in some respect doing that. Let's not forget, MJF was on Rev Pro. Mercedes Moné was in Doncaster, I believe. She retained the Rev. She's the Rev Pro champion. She's a Rev. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
To be fair, the Rev Pro title has been shown on AEW a few times. I know Ospreay used to wear it. Like you said, Mercedes does. So yeah, you're right.
But to your point, in terms of this Forbidden Door sort of, product, where it goes from here, potentially, one of your biggest fan bases is obviously Britain. So when you come to Britain, perhaps you can have more people from independent British wrestling on that show, and the biggest one is Rev Pro. But like I said, we have had people from Rev Pro there already. I don't know what other country other than North America and perhaps Mexico where you can actually have that much independent talent. I mean, this is me shooting here. I know Uganda, they're doing quite a big thing at the moment with all this sort of mud wrestling. Don't know if you guys have been watching that.
Yeah.
So and that goes. I suppose that goes back to Double A's point. Sometimes we get a bit entitled where we just assume it's just Japan, it's just the UK. Germany apparently has got some good wrestling out there as well.
Yeah, the fact that it's actually in the UK, maybe you're right. It might have a more European vibe to it. Maybe that's the angle that they'll go down. But we will find out firsthand because we'll be there.
Yeah.
Do you want to touch on anything AEW related before we end this episode?
I do want to say just quickly, I've said it in the group. Nick Wayne over Hook, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, because look at his father figure. Who would you rather have as your father figure, Christian or Taz? Come on.
Yeah, Nick Wayne, man, I gotta give him his props, man. He's just been growing from strength to strength. I just think, I feel like, unfortunately, I don't want to say the ceiling. I don't want to say Hooker's reached the ceiling, but he needs to do something. I don't know what it is, but I assume as well. I will put this out there, so when it does happen, I can come back to it. I assume, obviously, with the ops at the moment, when Hook does come back from, I assume he's injured for real. When he does come back, he gets vexed and he's like, what? I didn't win it with you lot. What? You lot tried to replace me. He turns heel and he tries to beat up someone. I assume because he needs to do something.
A heel turn for Hook would be good.
Yeah.
He needs
to I think so. I think it'll give him opportunities to actually talk. I don't really hear him say much promo wise. And I think like anything, it's been like FTR. I'm intrigued by FTR. When they came out with Big Stoke, I was loving everything a bit. Do you know what I mean? Because I think they've gone a bit stale, FTR, to be honest. Now I'm intrigued again.
Skills. Yeah, they're better.
100%. Well, I suppose one thing I wanted to touch on is the Hall of Fame, really. There wasn't as much hype, I thought, this year on it. And they've added a new sort of category now, they're Hall of Fame and matches. I wasn't that intrigued this year. I mean, no disrespect. I watched Ruthless Aggression Era. Michelle McCool. Yeah, man, that she wasn't anything special, to be honest with you.
Mate, that is a Mark Calloway politicking to get her in.
Mate, that's an LFG special, that one.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame 100% was underwhelming this year. I didn't watch it. It's one of the first years I didn't even bother watching one interview, not one. Even Stone Cold and Brett, I didn't, because I've seen them. Do you know what I mean? Like the match thing, it seems like just now you're unlimited now on how you can bring so many people that have already been Hall of Famers. You can bring them back to just
Undertaker, Mankind.
It's like rather than see, like, we should be getting like Demolition. You've used to, anyway, it is what it is, man. Like, yeah, you're right. It is. It was a bit underwhelming this year. So hopefully, next year will be better. But
cool.
That's all we've got for today. Normally, we might do a few games going forward. I might have done I haven't got one prepared today. We just wanted to get this episode out, but normally we'd probably throw in a few games, might throw in a funny few clips. We're going to read out some funny stuff that's happened in the week. But today we just wanted to get this one episode out, get it out in the open, get it out because we've been talking about this podcast for a long time now. For those that have actually stayed to the end, there's the reason I'm called the first boss, aka the Ochente Ocho, because I've been watching this product since '88. Ochente Ocho is '88. I've been watching this for a very long time. I was the first boss before the final boss, if you know what I mean. Double A is the WWE apologist, and Break is the AEW mouthpiece. So we will hopefully be giving you more and more content coming in the future. But yeah, for now, I think we can wrap it here. Hopefully next week we'll have more to talk about. So has anyone else got anything to say?
Nah, it's all good.
All good.
Yeah,
all right, cool. Nice one, guys. Well, I will see you. Hold on a sec before. Let's get this back on. We are obviously Grapple Gurus. We should have some social media up here as well now. We should be on X by this point. We should be on Instagram at this point. We should be on YouTube at this point. We'll have it all in the description, I guess.
All of them, yeah.
By this point. But yeah, please, if you did enjoy this, just give it a like, give it a follow, and we're just trying to build something here. So yeah, until next time. See you later.
Appreciate it, man. Fellas. Until next time.
Cheers, guys.